What is up, guys? This is Linthio coming at you with a bit of a different video today, and one that I've never really done, but I do believe that it would be quite an interesting one for you guys to see the top 10 cards that I'm really looking forward to in the next set, which is the Secrets of Eternity. Now, I'm just going to run down the cards that I personally really are looking forward to, because at the end of the day, it's what I make the cards out of. It's, you know, it's a lot of people are looking forward to the Burning Abyss stuff, and a lot of people are looking forward to everything like that. But these are the cards that I'm looking forward to, and basically just going to go straight into it. So at number 10, we have Shin Maju Gazette. I really love the idea of this card. If you don't know about the Maju Gazettes, there's 3 of them now, including this one, and it's Great Maju Gazette and just Maju Gazette. Maju Gazette was the 2 tribute, and you normal summon it to get the attack of both monsters. Great Maju Gazette, you just tributed 1, and you will get the attack of it. And they were just such interesting cards, and with this one, the fact you tribute all cards you control and then to special summon it, and it gains attack equal to the combined attack of all the monsters you tribute summon to special summon it. It's a really interesting card, and one that I think might make for some quite comical OTKs, and just in general something quite interesting. It's a fiend and it's a level 8, so it has trade-in synergy if you so wish want to run it in that type of thing. But do I think it's going to hit the scene? No, not really, but it's certainly something that I'm actually going to look into just to see if I can do any fun things with this card. So at number 9, we have Super Heavy Samurai Warlord Suisun Ro. This card is super interesting for me. Not only are its stats incredible with 2,400 attack and 3,800 defense, it is a machine, level 10 synchro. You basically need 1 machine tuner and 1 or more non-tuner super heavyweight samurai monsters. And the effect is pretty interesting. It has the exact same of the fact that it can attack while it's in defense position, and you apply the defense for the actual attack. And the interesting effect that it does have, once per turn during either player's turn, if you have no spell or trap cards in your graveyard, you can target 1 spell or trap card in your opponent's graveyard and set it. But once you use it, or once it leaves the field, it's banished. So not only can you steal cards from your opponent's graveyard that they might need, so for example, maybe a Shadow Fusion that someone wants to use, you can put it on your side of the field, even just to get rid of it. And the really nice thing about it is that it gets banished after, so they can't even recycle it. A lot of people, for example, are putting in Hidden Armory to recycle Snatch Steal from the grave, and also recruit it from the deck. And if you take their Snatch Steal, use it, and then it gets banished, well, they can't now do that anymore. So it's actually quite an interesting effect. It also opens the possibility to different decks like Monster Mash and make them a little bit kind of viable. And I say kind of viable because it just means that there is now a boss monster that Monster Mash can use. Now, you might say if you are a full-fledged Monster Mash expert that you have many boss monsters that you can use. While that is true, this just means that you have something that isn't just a monster. You can actually interact with your opponent more so, and actually utilize spell cards that they actually have. Now, if we look at the generic spell cards that are being used in this day and age, in this meta, there are, as of course, Snatch Steal, MST, Raigeki, Dark Hole, and more, like Pot of Duality, anything like that. It's a really interesting thing, and that's only covering the spells. You can use other traps that might devastate your opponent, or maybe that they might need, so you can get rid of those Fire Lakes out your opponent's grave, so they can't recycle it with Dante, and so on and so forth. Coming in at number 8, we have Infernoid Nemoth. Now, the reason why this one is here is because I kind of want to run Infernoids as a bit of a fun deck, but looking at the rarities that have been leaked currently, 3 are Ultras and 2 are Supers, I think, so far, and I'm just like, I'm going to wait until it dies down probably, but maybe not. It completely depends on the prices that people have, and so on and so forth. But its effect is pretty good. It's a level 10 fire, they're all fires, so it has synergy with Blaster, and basically the normal effects for all these are, they can't be normal summoned or set, and they can only be special summoned from the hand or grave by banishing X number of other Infernoid monsters from your hand or graveyard. Each different Infernoid monster has a different requirement, but this one has 3, for example, and they can only be summoned if the level or ranks of all effect monsters you control are 8 or less. So basically, they're a nerfed version of Dragon Rulers in the fact that you can't completely spam the field. But this effect is so good. It's a 3000, as I said, attack and defense, and the effect is when it's special summoned, you can destroy all other monsters on the field. So it's kind of like a little bit of a Black Rose effect. And then the other effect is once per turn during either player's turn, when a spell, trap, or spell trap effect is activated, you contribute one monster and negate the activation if you do banish it. So you contribute himself, you contribute other Infernoid monsters, and it's also the fact that you can banish your opponent's actual card that they've activated. Now, I think it's quite interesting that they've also included the tech spell or trap effect, because that means you can get rid of those annoying Quillforth tools, because they are already activated, yes, but the effect, once they activate that tool search, you can get rid of it. So it's a really interesting card. Coming in at number 7, we have Caius the Mega Monarch. A lot of people have been looking forward to this, and I think Caius is the best one. The effect is you can tribute this card by tributing one tribute summon monster. If the card is tribute summoned, target one card on the field. Also, if this card is tribute summoned, by tributing a dark monster, you can target one additional card on the field, banish both those targets, and if you do, inflict 1000 damage to your opponent. So you're only inflicting 1000 for the 2 cards if you do banish both. Also, after that effect, if the target was a dark monster, you can banish all copies of that dark monster in your opponent's hand, main deck, extra deck, and graveyard. It's just crazy. So it's just unbelievable. If you banish that tour guide, they are getting rid of all those tour guides. If you banish any of the Burning Abysses, they're going. It's a really interesting card, and I really do like it. With the 2800 attack, it's absolutely incredible. One of the few Mega Monarchs I really rate and think that should possibly be played. Next up, we have Divine Knight Santoro, who is a very interesting card. It's not going to be played that much because level 2s aren't that great currently, but it is a Light Beast Warrior, level 2 with 2000 attack. No defense. 2 level 2 monsters is needed, and its effect is, while it has XYZ materials, it can't be destroyed by battle. If this card battles your opponent's monster, and your opponent still controls that monster at the end of the damage step, you can detach a material from this card to return it to that hand. So basically, this monster isn't going to die, and if your opponent can't interact with the card to get rid of it, you're going to bounce 2 of their monsters. So with Dante, with Winder, and with Construct as the top 3 cards that you don't want to go to the grave, you can send them all back. You just get rid of them and it removes the actual problem. While you will take some life point damage in the process if you're attacking them head on, it doesn't matter because the reward that you're going to get for getting rid of those monsters with this effect is going to be huge. Coming in at number 5, we have Grudge and the Monarchs, and one card that all Monarch players have been really looking forward to. Reveal one monster in your hand that has 1000 defense and either 2400 attack or 2800 attack. Add one Monarch spell card or one First of the Monarch from your deck to your hand, except Grudge of the Monarchs. You can only activate once per turn, so you can't recruit itself. Otherwise, that would be a bit silly. You can only activate it once per turn, which makes sense, which a lot of cards nowadays have that clause. So it's pretty crazy, this card, because you can search out a lot of powerful cards and a lot of powerful combo pieces. You can't search itself, but one of the biggest cards that you'll probably be getting is Monarch Stormforth. That is such an important card for a lot of decks, and mainly Monarchs, and the fact that you can search out one of these cards is crazy. So that is why it is there. It's definitely going to be an interesting one. Coming in at number 4, we have Turnover Soul, a card that has been hotly debated around recently, and basically the effect is it's a trap, and if you control no special summon monsters, tribute 1 level 4 normal monster or set, draw 2 cards. You can only activate it once per turn, and you cannot special summon during the turn you activate this card. So basically, you tribute a level 4, and you draw 2 cards. Yeah, that's pretty good if you ask me. So different things that you might want to look at bringing this into a deck. You can bring it into gadgets, you can bring it into Talonites if you so wish, but I wouldn't recommend Talonites because I think it's a little bit too slow, considering that you probably want to be special summoning a lot more, and the only reason I think this would be good is for a very, very early game where you might summon that Deneb or a Nook just as a 1 card just to try and get you rolling. Other than that, you probably want to be going off in the future turns, turn 2 and so on and so forth, into those Trivers, those Deltarosses, and other rank 4 XYZs. But this card certainly gives those rank 4 toolbox decks a bit of an interesting, a bit of support. It'd be interesting to see what people actually come up with this. It's a shame that you can't special summon the turn you activate it, but I suppose it would be a little bit too broke if you could. The next card coming in at number 3 is Oni Raigeki, and the reason being is I want this for my Control Thunder deck. Can't wait to play this, but the effect is very simple. It's one of the shortest lines we've had in a while. It's a Light Thunder, level 4, 1800 attack, 1000 defense. Effect, neither player can activate spell cards in main phase 1. So I really like this card because the fact it has a good amount of attack. 1800 attack is nothing to shy away from, and it doesn't get run over by a lot of cards in the meta currently. Now obviously Shadows have Dragon, which has 1/9 and can beat over it, and then they can activate their Shadow Fusions. That's just an example. But I really do like the card because I feel that if made correctly, you might be able to make an interesting control deck with this in Denko Sekka, because it just means that you can lock your opponent down and have a little bit of fun with them. Will this card impact on the meta? Maybe. People might side it depending on what deck you're playing. If spellbooks were still a thing, this card would really hurt them in my opinion. And I just think that it's maybe a little bit too late considering what's in the meta now, but it might be a good card anyway. I think the leak showed that it was a super rare, and yeah, I'm going to pick up 3 of them for sure. The penultimate one at number 2 is Constellanite Diamonds. This card gives Satellanites a great boost. It's a rank 5, 2700 attack, 2000 defense, and it's basically M7, Constellanite M7, but a little bit on crack. So you need 3 or more level 5 light monsters, but you don't really summon it that way. In Satellanites, the way that you do summon it is, during your main phase 2, you can also XYZ summon this card using a Tellarknight XYZ card you control. Basically, it gets all of the materials as usual. While this card has XYZ materials, neither player can send cards from their deck to the graveyard. Also, cards added from the graveyard to the hand are banished instead. During either player's turn, when your opponent activates the effect of a dark monster, you can detach 1 XYZ material from this card. Negate the activation. If you do, destroy it. So holy hell, this is a dark deck's worst nightmare. So for Shadows and Burning Abyss, anything's going to get banished that they try to add to their hand. Anything's going to get banished that they try and send from the deck to the graveyard. It's just so good, and the fact that they actually gave it the effect that you can detach an XYZ material to negate the activation of a dark monster and destroy it is crazy in my opinion. But it's something that I'm definitely going to use, and let's not forget it's honestable. Personally, I think you'll only need to run 1, and you probably, if you're afraid of the big matchups, you might want to side another. But considering how tight the Satellite deck is, I feel that running 1 is fine because you really should be winning once you get this card on the field. And then the final one, the final card that I am most looking forward to in this set is Unizombie. Now you might have seen this coming. Unizombie is a dark zombie tuner, level 3, 1300 attack with no defense, and its effect reads as follows. You can target 1 face-up card on the field, discard 1 card, and if you do, increase its level by 1. You can target 1 face-up monster on the field for the rest of the turn. Monsters you control cannot attack, except zombie monsters. Also, send 1 zombie monster from your deck to the graveyard, and if you do, increase its level by 1. You can only activate each effect of Unizombie once per turn. The fact you can activate both effects of this card is crazy. So I'm running this card at Trip in my Skull Servant. If I have a Right Prince in my hand, I'll ditch it, get Right Prince's effect, level up. Then I will ditch a White Prince from my deck to the graveyard to get its effect again. I have 6. That's right, 6 Skull Servant names in the graveyard for Skull Servant who can come out straight away on 6k. But the interesting thing with this is you can do a lot of interesting plays. For example, you can send a Zombie Master from your hand to activate the effect. Then you can send a Mizuki from the deck to the graveyard, banish the Mizuki, summon Zombie Master, Zombie Master's effect. You can do so much stuff with this, and it makes Beals, it makes Void Ogre Dragon, Dark End Dragon, all these dark synchros that you have to use with Dark Tuner, so much more accessible. And it actually gives zombies a really big push in my opinion. While that they might not make the top tier, I do believe it'll give them a really nice push into maybe tier 2, because you don't know how powerful this card is until you play with it. So that is it, guys. I hope you did enjoy the video. What are your top 10 cards, or maybe just what are the top cards you are looking forward to in this next set? This video will probably be out at the sneak peek, so I hope you do enjoy the sneak peek on the day. Don't forget to leave a comment down in the section below, like, comment, subscribe, and I shall catch you guys later.